another One Piece manga review. We're here reviewing chapter 1138. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Lyn and Versen, joined by your other host, Mr. Versen the Vassal, aka Joshua Trosclair. V-Man, we got a big one. Look, we talked about it in the last review. We didn't know where the chapter was going to go. We kind of predicted the beginning part, but we did not see anything of what was happening at the end happening. This is a big chapter for us to discuss. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, pretty good. Got some finger rehab going on and got my house nice and clean. It was my grandma's birthday. Shout out to that. That being said, with my grandma, this might be a bigger thing happening this week.
Look, it's funny you say that because Curse was like, we have some stuff to do or whatever. And I was like, I have the Royal Rumble this weekend. And she was like, oh my gosh, you prefer the Royal Rumble over one of our family members' birthday? I was like, fuck yeah. And I'm thinking, this is more important than the Royal Rumble. So I'm right there with you. This shit is crazy, this chapter. We have, and look, I'm going to let y'all know, we will deep dive it. We're going to deep dive, but I also think we will make another theory video outside of this about the last panel. We'll probably bring Pharaoh on to get his opinion and just talk about it after days of letting it sink, as well as reading the official, because the official may have things differently, because normally we wait for the official, but Versen hit me up and I agreed with him right away. This chapter's too important to wait to the official.
And it's simply too big for one video. And I would also add on to that, like, there's stuff that people are going to have to go and like wiki crawl to like get a couple more things confirmed. But yeah, you know, like the most surprising thing in this chapter, let's be clear, it's because there's no break next week. We saved this shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even think about that. That's huge. And when we talk about the last panel, the thing, I feel like it's easier for us to dissect the left side of it. The middle is very confusing to me, which I want to get your thoughts on. And then the beginning part is the most interesting. So we have a lot to discuss.
Crazy bullshit.
Yeah, no, this shit is absurd. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning listener, welcome. But I have to say this every time for new listeners. The way we do our reviews are different than others. I go through, do a brief summary of the chapter, and then Versen and I deep dive the most important parts of the chapter, the parts that we feel are worth talking about, and explaining them and deep diving them. That's why our reviews are different than others. Some people may give you a 30-minute review. Some people may do a 5. We try to give you close to an hour, anywhere from 30 to an hour, to give you a full dose of One Piece. Which
is why I'm trying to do this quick reacts too. So y'all check out the quick reacts.
Yeah, facts.
Give y'all something to chew on while we work on this quality content.
Big facts. So, all right, let's jump straight into it. The chapter starts off with the cover story, which we will dive into. For everyone that's been watching our reviews and knowing how Versen and I have paid close attention to this cover story, this feels like a win for us because we predicted that something like this would happen, where we finally see the leader or the supposed leader of this, or the remnants on Wano causing trouble, which it being who's who. We'll talk more about that, but it starts right where we left off with Loki dealing with Shamrock and Gunko. Basically, they're like, we should get out of here. But then Loki opens his mouth and starts threatening Shamrock. And Shamrock's like, look, I'm not dealing with this. You're not threatening me, big dog. And then unleashes his attack, which we see his sword has a devil fruit, the Cerberus fruit, which I think has very, very huge implications to Shanks. We'll discuss that. But we see the Cerberus fruit and how it's acting with his sword is very interesting. And basically Loki says, if I get attacked by this, I'm screwed, which he does. And while he's getting attacked by this, Gunko makes this flying arrow craft for them to get out and continue their mission. Since they can't get Loki involved, then they will do something else. Shamrock said total subjugation isn't feasible. So let's start by taking children hostages. Also, we need an extra person. So they're calling in another Holy Knight member. We then cut over to Luffy, where Luffy's talking to the guards about what happened. And he's defending his homie Shanks. And they're like, I don't know, man. This looked just like Shanks. But Luffy was like, y'all know Shanks. He wouldn't do some shit like that. And now
he's looking like you right now.
And now, hey, look, as he should. If I'm looking like Luffy, then that's a good thing. And then as Luffy's saying this about, I don't know too much about Shanks' family. I know he's tied to the Roger family, the Roger pirates. And when they say that, we see the person who has been in the shadows, in the darkness the whole time, walking to the castle to meet up with Luffy and them, which is very interesting. We'll talk about that as well. We then cut over to Frankie, where Frankie is with Ripley, because Ripley had to go with Frankie because Saul didn't trust him. Saul was like, the Atom Wood is too important to this country. I know your ass is a shipwright who's already made your ship out of Atom Wood. You'll probably try to steal some. Not that Frankie's that type of guy to harm anything, but he would, Frankie loves his Atom Wood, and if it could add on to the Sunny, why not? So Ripley went with him. And basically, when they get there, Frankie sees this mural, and Ripley's like, this has been here since the Void Century. And Frankie's like, I need to show Robin this ASAP. And I thought that was beautiful, that the first thing he thought of was, I need to show Robin this. But Ripley's like, we don't know if it's real because it looks like kids drawing and graffiti and whatnot. It's probably just some kid's dream. We then cut over to Saul and Robin in the library, where Robin is starting to read the Harley. And basically, they discuss why there's so many different versions of the Sun God, because there's these different 3 worlds, which is we see in the mural that Frankie wants to show Robin. And basically she reads it out loud, which is what the first world meant, the prophecy they had about that, the prophecy about the second world, and the prophecy about the third world. And each of these things goes to a section of the mural that Frankie was looking at. And that the chapter ends with Frankie looking on the mural and Robin reading the words of the first, the second, and the third world. So let's jump up top Versen, because we can't skip a cover story when we're on a roll with it. Our guy Who's Who, man, he's back. You still think someone else is behind him, which I could see. Mm-hmm. I could also see him working alone, but it's very good that we now see some of the remnants of the Kaido pirates, what they're doing. Also, it makes sense because whatchamacallit, Green Bull, when we saw him attack the Kaido pirates, Who's Who was not with them. I went back and looked. It was just
the
Queen and King. Yeah, Queen, King, and I believe Sasaki was there as well. It was either Sasaki or not the sister, but the brother, Page One. It was one of them that was we all saw as well, but we did not see Who's Who. So this makes perfect sense. How are you feeling about this? He's here, man.
Feeling pretty good, feeling pretty vindicated. Again, this feels like it's meant to be a take on a Rashomon style. Well, not Rashomon, the more like the movie setting and everything, rather than the plot. But very much like a kind of like a bridge between the old world and the new world of Wano a little bit. Whenever I say someone's behind him, I think he's affiliated with someone on the outside world, because, like we said, in that part of that makes partially more sense why Wano isn't open yet. So if you're a black market smuggler type or whatever, because we do know that there are ways to get stuff out, he makes a great villain, and I'm sure like his main thing will be a little political power. Because also, between him and Yamato's got it.
I'm glad you brought this up about him being tied to the outside. I definitely think you have a good point with him being to the underworld. But what if this is his way to get back into the good graces of the government? What if he is trying to position himself not necessarily as what he was or what Rob Lucci is, but almost as a pseudo Doflamingo in between for the government and to know what's going on with Wano? Like, what if this is his way to erase that bounty, erase with the government after him, and kind of be like the CIA operative almost for the WG?
Well, we know that the world government is super heavily tied into the underground. Like, they're probably the biggest sponsor of it, but they just do it through slightly shadier means, which, again, as you said, ties more also into the CIA in the way that they have like cutouts that other officials don't even know about that allow them to conduct clandestine operations everywhere. To the point where some agencies accidentally attack other agencies just because they don't know shit about what the other one's doing.
I definitely feel he's tied to the WG if it's some outside shit, for sure.
Yeah, they need a new Orochi figure, but I think it might be like a third-hand thing, like they might both be trafficking pools. And I think at some level they know about each other, but I don't know, the world government is just so uptight. One, he lost the Nika fruit. I think no matter what he does, they would want to kill him and just put someone else in there. So I don't think he can do it direct. I think he has to do it like third hand.
That's fair. I will say this. Due to the fact of how Samurai Gandhi or Ethan was very much like, damn, Wano was smart, I do think that this could be a way to alleviate some of those problems of losing the Nika fruit. All right, well, you want to do this? You be our liaison to because we need to know right when that borders are open, because we can't not attack right when it happens.
Yeah, well, I'll agree with that. But I will also just say, if that's the case, I need both parties to know that the other one will absolutely betray each other in a split second.
Oh,
Who's Who's a
instantly,
cat?
yeah.
He's got 9 lives, which I think is part of his motif.
And he's
Like,
probably running out of them too,
yeah,
honestly.
he's probably on like 3 or 4 at this point, if not more. He's only here because he's been able to like snug like a bug in a rug next to Kaido and work out like a very small niche. If he gets too big for his britches, he's gonna realize just how smashed flat his ass is gonna be.
Very much so. Very, very much so. But I do like that he is, because I always thought there was potential with him being the pre-Rob Lucci. And since we know Rob Lucci's coming back, like I would love to see him have some hands into whatever's happening at the end, because we know there's gonna be a lot of people. But all right, let's talk about Shamrock and Loki's ass. Look, the Cerberus fruit. We know Cerberus, the guardian of the underworld. Shanks represents the Griffin, which is the guardian of the. And depending on which text you've read, it's either the guardian of the sun, the guardian of fire, the guardian of the heavens, the heavenly objects. That's what a Griffin does. The complete opposite to Shanks. Also, I thought it was very interesting that Shamrock said Shanks came back, but then was like, "Nah, I don't fuck with y'all. I'm leaving." He pulled a fucking Dofi's dad.
Yeah, and I also kind of wonder where in his life
that's
that
important.
Happened. Obviously,
that's very important.
It wasn't ever during the Roger years. So
yeah, it was definitely after.
Must have been right after Roger's execution and right whenever he was. That might have been part of the reason why he was like, Buggy, it ain't time yet. I'm like, he might have spent like a summer or a day or a week or even a year just chilling in Marijoa, like scooping up as much info as he is and then dipping, you know?
Also, it goes to show the nature versus nurture argument. You put him in the environment where Shamrock was, the way he was raised doesn't agree with that, to also combat this nature versus nurture situation that we see going on. Also, them being two sides of the same coin of the fact that Shamrock has Cerberus, which is very much so the guardian of the underworld and hell, and Shanks being a Griffin, the opposite. I think this puts our guy Shanks in clear good guy graces, at least as of now.
Well, again, I don't know necessarily if everything that I've said about Shanks is on a clear, like, good or bad delineation. True. I don't think he's ever been bad. He has a motif of being, like, kind of above the world a little bit, soaring above, like, with his Griffin motif, and trying to balance things. And I think sometimes you can make an argument on how exactly he chooses to balance and when he chooses not to do stuff. Now, I do want to say, anyone who knows me knows for a long time, well, first of all, let me just note, they don't say that it's the Cerberus fruit.
They do not. They just have the name Cerberus under it.
Yes. I was going to say, like it could be some weird named blade magic shit, but, let's concede and let's be willing to go with it.
I'm going to assume it's the devil fruit. But
I'm just pointing out. Here's the thing, though. Long time people know me know that I've always been a fan of the reason why Blackbeard can eat 3 devil fruits is he has one in the back. And the Cerberus with 3 heads. Yeah, so here's the thing, though. Is it possible that Blackbeard, maybe thinking Shanks are not caring, he's going to get the Shamrock fight? He's going to snap that bitch in half because he doesn't need a Zoan, but at this point, with you have 2 out of the 3, and this is clearly a mythological Zoan, like why kind of wouldn't he get a Zoan at this point? And this just feels, if he doesn't have one in the back already, because I know people have also long thought it was either like a sea devil or it was an octopus or whatever, which is also fair. This feels like a perfect thing to round it out.
Let me ask. I could believe that Blackbeard has the Cerberus fruit. Is this a Vegapunk clone fruit for this person? Because we know Vegapunk has cloned zones in the beginning. He cloned Kaido's fruit. Could this be a clone, which is why we don't have the name, but we just have the name Cerberus? I mean,
we have to keep in mind Vegapunk is the one who made. He's the only reason why we have certain weapons that ate fruit. Or at least that is what was declared at the beginning of the story. We've run into some of them that are pretty old that we don't know when exactly some of the items eat the fruit.
No, but you're right.
But he's the one who designed the technology ever since we saw it back in Alabasta. And then also, we've seen a couple of government stooges have it. I also do want to applaud it. This is a great way of giving him a devil fruit / cool power without him having to eat it. I'm a big fan of, items eating devil fruits. I think that they can be very useful.
This is crazy too. Each dog mouth has a blade, and then like he's going away, and the dog is still doing the attack. Like how is some of this shit feasible? Like it's like he let it out, and then like you can see the trail of smoke coming from his blade, and like when he flies away, does it do the attack and then it comes back. I'm so interested in this. Like, this is such an interesting design in a good way to make it to where he has, you know, a power.
Yeah, like what his range is and everything. It still gives us the fact that the jury's still out on who of the two of this group teleported in. The fact that he related to Takunko, that they would need a third man, makes me think that she's got that, which we know is not a devil fruit power. It's just whatever this weird emu magic is. Yeah, overall really cool. I would also say, just for a little bit of a backing guess, Blackbeard betrayed Whitebeard twice to get his devil fruit. Taking a shot at the world government to get the last devil fruit he may or may not be looking for, or just one he'd highly value, I think would kind of even out a little bit of it. Because the most recent time we had a Blackbeard was him trying to cozy up the world government. We know that's not going to work. They're not going to like fuck with it, or they'll try to find a way to undermine them. That's what sword exists for. This might be a more direct blow of the face, because right now he really hasn't spit in the face of the world government much. He's been actually very careful not to like do that.
Not the best one.
You know.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm very interested now, because this definitely throws a wrench in a lot of people's Blackbeard theories. So this is very, very interesting to me. But yeah, so that's pretty much it with Shamrock.
Yeah, but shout out to Loki though. He took it like a boss. Yeah, he did. He's still kicking.
Like, also, the fact that the blades had the hell flame. I wonder if those are connected to Zoro's hell flames. Just something to point out for the Zoro fans.
Yeah, like, I don't know, but our homie Loki has taken some abuse, and I'm very curious what durable. It's going to be.
Super, super durable. Like, this guy has it, man. And then I love that he told him, if you survive, come back and fight me. I'll fight you whenever. That's some OG shit. That's fire.
That's decently hard. But yeah, you know, and then also our boy Loki being suppressed by Sea Stone as well. So he's at like the lowest form he could be, and he's still taking a lot of abuse. Yeah, also, and of course they want to steal them children.
Yeah, I'm interested to see
predators moving in flocks on this arrow bird.
Who will be the next God Knight that appears? This is so interesting now, because all these people are seem strong-ish. I would put them at lowest vice captain level, like vice admiral level at minimum. These guys are looking good, so I'm interested to see who the next person is that wait, gonna call.
What if they bring out a Seraphim or something?
That would be hard.
Some Seraphim on deck. Mihawk, you know, little Mihawk Seraphim coming back, or you know, like a Dofi.
I was gonna say I would want a Dofi Seraphim.
Yeah, I don't want a new one. But...
And just to get a comment from like Shamrock on, I hate looking at this guy to think that Doflamingo could have been a holy knight. Like, I would love some. That's Linden headcanon that Doflamingo was supposed to be a holy knight, which is why Homing took them away, because he didn't want his son to be subjected to that. And if Shamrock makes some snide comment like, this, I can't believe we're using this bum was supposed to be with us, fuck him, I would love that type of shit. So I would, if it is a Seraphim, I want Dofi for sure.
And of course, I'm also just kind of hyped that could also be a Buggy Fim. You know, but yeah, I don't know. Overall, just hype. I'm glad to see that they're going to be staying around for a while. I didn't think they were going to get a good out, but until they say it, it's hard to know because of how we don't know how the God Knights operate yet. They could very much be a do your dirt and leave, but no, it seems like
but
these
the shadows.
2 plus 1, yeah, these 2 plus 1 are going to wage a war on Elbath.
And it's more of a silent war, almost like we're going to have these kids hostage. If you want to get them back, join the government. I don't know if Luffy and them will come across them. At this, it's still questionable. I don't know, because the fact that you're making them get out right now before they were going to go to Luffy, and the fact that you have the guy coming towards Luffy, really puts some separation amongst them. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the next most important part of the next thing is the fact that they were talking about Shanks's lineage, and then we see potentially. I thought Roger and Rayleigh was his real family. Gabon. Yeah, do you think this is Scopper Gabon pulling up?
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, what other member of the Roger crew are we gonna like use this pop off for? Because this is literally, and I know everyone knew this, but like this is the most defined it's ever been. Of this is the guy who was talking to Crocus.
To Crocus, yeah, facts,
like
big facts.
Like we even made Odin a member of the Roger Pirates. Obviously, this isn't him. I'm just saying. So like we already have like a 4th pillar of the Roger Pirates, behind the big 3 plus Crocus. This like if this isn't Scopper, we're dealing like with a 5th or 6th man, which I don't.
That'd be whack. Yeah, that would be.
But at what point are we getting Scopper? The only difference is this guy don't really look like Scopper from what we saw. but he's also much older, and he could be an incognito.
And we know Scopper had his hair like if he didn't have short hair, he had long black hair in this ponytail. It could just be white now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it could be white, or fuck it, he could have been like, Rayleigh never cared about keeping low, but I'm gonna stay low. I dyed it blonde, and I changed the cut, and I'm chilling at Elbath, and they let me stay here because they fucking respect me. It could also be a reason why Shanks. I'm not saying that's why he gets to go as he pleases, but it could be also like, yeah, I gotta go see my like third dad.
Yeah. Also, like, I mean, think about it like this. Rayleigh was Crocus being at the beginning of the Grand Line, Rayleigh being in the middle. You need someone at the end, and Elbath is damn near the end. So like it makes sense why it would be Scopper Gaban, bro. Like I'm all for it being him.
Yeah, the only thing I've ever said about when Scopper might show up is Elbath or maybe either Lodestar or at Laughdale, but Elbath is fine. No, like Lodestar is cool, but we've never really built it up as much or anything other than it's the last spot.
And they said multiple times that like you don't have to go there to go to Laughdale. You don't it's not necessary. Like, of course, Nami wants to go there so we can get the maps of the world and
finish it off.
Yeah, they have reasons, but they don't necessarily need to. So I think that's important as well, why it could be Elbath. Also with the fact that of the history that they have here. It's like, I'm sure they don't want anybody just reading this shit.
Plus, I mean, I don't know, like granted, I would have to go back and like see the exact time or whatever, but like if there was worries that the Elbath Giants might lose their way, I could see a Roger Pirate being like, well, they need one confirmed hitter here, especially if you work in the assumption of like Scopper Gaban definitely impregnated Ripley.
He protected his kid, bro. Is there a chance that this is Shiki? Because you know, Shiki has a motif that is kind of similar. I'll give him that. With the hat and the yellow hair, and
not with them bringing up Roger and Rayleigh.
Yeah, true. They did that. Oda does that type of shit purposefully. So no, I agree with you. I just was playing devil's advocate for a different person.
Like Shiki was a rival. He is important, and I wouldn't hate him coming into the story proper at some point.
It makes no sense.
I wouldn't even hate it being here now, but like that's not what the framing is telling us at all. Like unless he brought in and he was like, oh yes, Shiki, the other rival who wasn't fucking Whitebeard and also Garp, the third guy from the movie.
Yeah, facts. Which I don't see that being the case. So I'm with you. All right, how do you want to do the last part? Because I mean, Frankie talking to Ripley is cool. Do you have anything from that portion that you want to discuss?
She's grabbing Frankie like a Subway sandwich.
I knew you would like that.
She's holding him like I hold some of my figures, just honk honk.
I would let her grab me like that, like a dog. No, like you're right. It's not even a dog. It's like a figure because he's too small.
I do think it's kind of funny. Obviously the fact that she had to pair around with him or whatever. Like, I don't think Frankie would have like blazingly stole it. I don't even know what equipment he would need for it, but it's like if you found a branch of atom wood that like just fell off and it was like as big as Frankie is, of course he'd pick it up.
Yeah, facts. Saul's like, you can't be doing that, bro. So I'm sending somebody with you. That shit is funny. All right. Anything on the Robin portion before we get to like, the major shit?
Yeah, the fact that there is like that we were finally going more into the Harley, the fact that there's the distinctions and the fact that there are different like stories. This is prime schismatic material, and again, not to go all the way out there, but like if the world government was going to pick on something to like cause a break in Elbath, this holy religious text that is arbitrarily divided is literally what the first thing they would do is they would find like the most zealous group of each individual, fund them, and then be like, okay, if you do this, we'll back your side, and maybe find a new king of Elbath or whatever who believes in your vision.
People who probably believe in the first world of the Harley, like the I don't know if you would say that's the evil side, but the one where the sun burned everything. I feel like that the ones who still kind of want to be warriors, maybe. I don't think you would go after the peaceful, the ones that we see in the picture of we're next to Robin and Chopper. I don't know if you're going after them, like the higher especially like the Dorian Broggies. I don't know if you're because they believe in Luffy.
The first world is so old. You could really kind of make it whatever you want, as long as you don't like contradict like a couple things,
But you could make it, you could twist it to fit to what the God Knights want for sure. For sure, for
But
sure.
yeah, so and I just love how this paneling is done. Frankie and Robin getting it, I think, is excellent. And then we have like her getting the story from Saul, and then obviously Frankie's a man of diagrams and blueprints or whatever.
So
He's the
it makes
perfect character to
sense.
have
Yeah.
this. Like we definitely need Robin on this case as well, but I do love that Frankie got some shine and got to be the one who first saw it.
I agree with you. Also, what was I gonna say? I do think. Oh, I look, and I know we talked about in the review. Jazz brought it up in the Discord. He was like, "I agree with y'all. I think we're right on the head with Harold being a CIA agent, bro. I 100% believe that. I think this dude was fucking trying to weaken them as much as they can, so the third world part of this mural doesn't come true.
Yeah, like, and we have to remember Kaido, what wasn't from, he's from the Viking or whatever, but he did obviously spend some time in Elbath. He knows a lot of their moves, just like probably even some stories that Lyn has, because to be honest, Elbath's her home. She was a like toddler or whatever when she got here. But Conqueror of Three Worlds, being such a big thing, and then what he believed in Joy Boy and how it was a gate or whatever. I honestly believe, and again, we've been told Nico will be a great liberator, but also a great destroyer, oftentimes in equal measure. We've seen in Fishman Island where Luffy would end up destroying Fishman Island. We assume for the better. The Giants fuck with Nico and I think it's cool or whatever, but especially now that they're going to a more peaceful life or whatever, they might be like,
we don't want that shit.
Don't want, if you can't guarantee you're not going to crack our island in half or whatever, the last free safe place for giant kind, because everyone's constantly looking for our power. Yeah, you might have to get the fuck off this island, little bro.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be very interesting. All right, you want to go through the mural? Cause man, the right side. I said this in the Discord, and you agreed with me. And join our Discord, by the way. Link in the description. We talk One Piece chapters right when they're dropped. We drop them in
the
there.
Discussions are getting spicy. We're seeing once again 4 a.m. One Piece old head dorm room discussions.
Just going at it. But bro, those look like buildings, bro. That looks like a cartoon.
Those are skyscrapers.
Bugs Bunny, New York City, with the pollution coming over it, with technology under it. I 100% believe that we got too technologically advanced the world and had an apocalypse, and that was the first world. And I think you were right when you said in the Discord that One Piece truly is in a post-apocalyptic world we're seeing. Two apocalypse, really.
Yeah, very, like I said it for a reason, very Adventure Time-esque. Like, obviously this is a much lower role, but like you can see things where it used to be, and then we have the flooding of the world coming up and everything. But interestingly enough, we don't see that much of like the water accounted for in this message, which might be purposeful. It's a lot of flames. Yeah, it's a lot of everything, like demons, which also offers, and big monsters that we don't necessarily fucking know where those are anymore or whatever,
and gods of the moon, gods of the forest. That's why in the quick reaction I put the panel from Skypiea as the thumbnail, because now we're hearing of these other deities. I wonder if these deities will manifest themselves in the final war.
All right, these are so important. You can take it if you want, or I'll take it, but we'll just straight up read the passages.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Now, granted, everyone should know that this is the previous translation. And again, you really need the mural to go along with it. It's done very specifically, but and keep in mind the third world is current in the One Piece timeline. So
and when we talk about the third
ancient,
when we talk about the third world, I want to go through, because I think that's the one that we can depict the most from the mural. The one that I had questioned the most is the second world, because I'm like, this one is very confusing. But we could talk about the first one, but I think the third one the most is where we can go into detail of who each of these figures represent.
Yeah, I just want to get a clean audio for people who like maybe haven't got to yet or something.
No, for sure.
So, the first world, the earth burned in endless flames, and in the hearts of men burned with desire. From whispered prayers, the sun god rose, beckoned by the enslaved who reached for the forbidden star. The god of the land was enraged. With the serpent of fire, they cast the world into ruin. Darkness fell, death reigned. They would not meet again.
Is this the precursor for the Mother Flame? This forbidden star? Is this nuclear war? Is this their version of nuclear war, essentially?
I think the forbidden star might be what they thought of trying to get to the moon.
Okay, gotcha.
And then like maybe Im-sama or someone else. Though granted, this is definitionally pre-Devil Fruit, as we'll talk about with the second world. They were like, no, you're not going to escape my grasp or whatever. Funny enough, there's a part of Worm, a very cool web serial, where they have a reason why the space race never took off is because they're basically aliens who are like, you're only within our control cluster up into about the moon. So anytime anyone thought about building a spaceship, they mysteriously just got. And I wonder if that's similar, where if there is a god of the land, they were like, well, I can't follow you to the stars. So you're going to stay right the fuck here, which is especially interesting because we know in the world of One Piece, at least in the third world, you don't even need a spaceship or anything to get up there. Like, the little cyborgs got up there, or the little cyborgs got up there on balloons. Like,
true.
It's possible a motherfucker took the moon and brought it closer.
That's like that is true. I'm just interested because of how these things look distinctly like skyscrapers, and it's the second world. So if it's 2 hours, I could see it being some, if we're going with the less fantastical, I could see it being some nuclear war, or the first, like the trying to harness the mother flame to tie into what you're saying, to get to space, try to harness it. It turned bad, it blew up and, destroyed civilization that we know. And then we get to the second world if you want to read it.
Yeah. Oh, and last thing, in the first world part of it, we also see all these gears. We see little robots and everything.
You think that's the first world? You don't think that's the second? I thought okay. So if you're looking at it, you see the fire, the two things spitting fire at each other, and then you see what looks like could be Pluton, could be the Ark under it with the kings, and then the water or whatever, and then could be Noah under that with all what looks like the Skypea thing that NL saw. Do you count that towards the first world, or is that the second?
No, dude, I'm talking about the guys who are carrying those stars.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it. That's what I'm saying. Is that you consider all of that side a part of the first?
I think it's a bridge between the two. Like basically we got the factories, we got the smog, we got all this, and then we have people like lowering down an elevator and and some of them have like angelic halos. Almost giving their souls or whatever to function in society, which I'm not gonna lie, man. People have to like, oh, they don't put politics into this. This is straight out of Marx.
Yeah, no, this is 100%. Like, bro, that's why I think I think he's saying this is us. Like, this is 100%. Like, and to your point of like, this could be a metaphor of us giving our souls our work weeks being so hard, not living. Could be that, like 100%. 100%. All right, yeah, go ahead.
For the second word passage. A breath stirred in the abyss. The god of the forest wove their magic, nurturing its devils, while the sun lit the embers of war. Those of the half crescent and full moons dreamed, yet the ones who slew the sun deified themselves, evoking the wrath of the sea god. They would not meet again. So this is devil fruit finally comes in. Half crescent, that's the will of D, obviously. And then we have like the compatriots who are the full moon like civilizations.
Is the wrath of the sea god Eem?
I presume so. Like the gods are where I think things are going to get weird, because like you have to really iron it out. You have to figure out when Eem comes into this. And then you have to stay consistent with it.
No, for sure.
I definitely think Eem is possible with the sea god, but also the first world. Well, what the hell is the Servant of Fire and the god of the land?
I'm with you.
Listen, there's a lot of One Piece theories. Some people say Eem is definitely tied to the ocean, Umi, which I do agree with. Other people are like, yeah, but also the rule of all the world, or like in like the constellation theory or whatever. It's like each one represents something. We have yet to have someone who represents Earth. But they are making it know that these are distinct things, which is part of why we need to wait for the official.
Yeah, true.
And again, what part of any of this means that you should have this giant serpent of fire? Because that's not, like, we know to our knowledge or whatever, that is not an ancient weapon, because for those who can't see, we have those mostly clocked. Like you have Uranus, Uranus from above with the mother flame probably zapping people out of existence, attacking Zunisha, the Noah's Ark and everything, all that. And this mysterious king who may or may not have been the king in the ancient world. And then literally like before that, and I don't think it's direct chronologically, it's easy to presume literally all of that was pre-devil fruit. And that is shocking and amazing.
And then and the fact that it's broken up by the tree, which could be the devil fruit tree, and then you get to the third world with all the craziness. No, I'm with you. That's why I think the second world is the one that I need more explanation of, because that's the one that I could make the first world make sense in my head canon, and the third world obviously is what we've been reading. But the second world is so intriguing because it's like, where does this part of the mural start? The second world, does it start directly at the tree? Is it the lead up? So that I 100% think after the tree is 100% the third world.
Yeah, like you definitely can get into that, and like a big part of that is also just a case of like, like as we've said, third world, most recent Luffy. Second world, probably obviously Joy Boy. That's when he made the promises. That's whenever he failed, unfortunately. First world being Nika again just goes to show like pre-Joy Boy was such an incredible time we don't even know about. And Roger pretty much stated himself where he was like, man, the Generation I'm in is kind of cool, but I would have given anything to be in Joy Boys. And I bet depending on how Joy Boy felt, he'd been like, man,
I'd give anything to be in
there's a lot of shit wherever. He's like, nah, but we should have been back there at the first world because that's when shit was totally insane.
Yeah, in the most technologically advanced, and Vegapunk talked about that, about how the world used to be more technologically savvy. And the crazy thing is, he's probably talking more about the first world than the second, which is wild.
Yeah, the fact that shit is being willingly suppressed because like the first world technology was so far advanced and so common or whatever, they literally had to flood it all the way and everything. The second world, you can clearly tell they've gotten more, but they're still using scraps. Like that, the Iron Golem that Emmett is, I don't believe is standard or anything. That is a very special, rare thing. That's
which
probably
we
also
see
partially based on third world stuff.
In the third world. So if you want to read the third world, we can talk and point out each of the things that we recognize.
Of course. So the third world, chaos reigns, the world drifts in a void. Yet time does not erase the memory of the promised day. Its shadow looms as the voice of the half moon echoes through the ages, and once more the sun god shall rise, laughing, dancing, guiding the world to its final act. The sun is reborn, a new dawn will break. Surely this time they will meet.
Yeah, man. Crazy. So in the mural, we see what we presume is Emeth. We see what we could presume is an ancient giant. We see what we could presume is a Lunarian. We see what we could presume is a mink in Sulong form and a normal mink. We see what we could presume is a Tontada. We see what we could presume is Poseidon and the Mermaid Queen. We see
and Sea Kings.
And Sea Kings. We see what we could presume is the normal humans and the samurai from Wano. We see Joy Boy, of course. And then we see the Emu side with their people in their boats fighting that side.
We also see a black ship. Just saying.
All black,
it is just saintly different than the other ships.
Very much so. Yep. Then on the thing on the whale too is like, what is that?
Yeah, because the whales are so important in One Piece or whatever. Like this is before they threw up the red line too. So like the first world didn't even have a fucking red line in it, and like obviously way more land, like just pure out and out craziness. Yeah, and like the distinctness of these different monsters, one being like this massive dragon, one being this like world eater Yomungator serpent, and then this one being the most anthropomorphic, the one literally gripping the sun as some sort of like ancient devil,
Is that Eames' growth throughout the years? Potentially.
I don't know. Like, I think almost in some ways the world of One Piece becomes more fantastical if they're just these creatures that aren't even necessarily tied to Eam. They're so ancient, like we just don't know.
What if Eam harnessed them, which is the way that this shit happened, type shit.
Yeah, like maybe he's just like banking on powers or whatever from things that are even greater and stronger than him.
Which is how the Gorosei got their powers.
Yeah, almost maybe like on some Knives and Tail shit, and maybe if we find a way to seal them or kill them, these monsters will be out and about, and we're gonna have to figure out how to deal with that, But overall, yeah, like the One Piece world has just gotten so much larger,
bigger,
more expansive,
from one mural.
Yeah,
like this is the most important chapter, I would say, in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no way you can solve the One Piece without some of this, and to the point where this is like slightly changed my trajectory on. I'll be honest with you. How long we even have left in the story,
bro? It keeps changing.
Like what? What is that? Like what?
I don't know how he finishes this in 2 years. I don't know how he does. Like it seems like a 5 to 10 year journey we have to go on,
dude. you can make this bitch the sequel series.
You could.
Like One Piece First World or whatever, you know? Like just I don't know, man, but I'm
you could
excited
have a first
for
world manga, you could have a second world manga as the sequels. You could if you wanted.
Like, because there's so few people left where this even makes any contextual sense. Like, we're a little flashbacks ain't gonna do it. We're gonna have to invent a devil fruit that literally is like a memory fruit, where once you crack that bitch open or whatever, it shows you, you know, live and in color. Or maybe not even a devil fruit, maybe just a piece of tech, and it's like, hey, somebody was live streaming the world, you know, like,
bro, just think about how crazy that is, man. Like, and we kind of contextualize this from what we know, and we know more than every character in the damn story outside of maybe the Gorosei and Eam. Like, and we still don't understand this shit.
Wait, maybe that might be why Roger, whenever he went to the end, was like, it's not my time.
And he laughed.
Yeah, because he was like, he saw a piece of knowledge. He was like, I'm too stupid. I'm too boomer for this. You have somebody who would operate a laptop?
Yeah.
You know, like, don't worry. The youngsters will figure it out because they got the IT
crazy.
support.
Like, if they get to fucking Laugh Tale and it's like a fucking, you remember the classic things when you had a substitute, they bring the card in and it's just like a VHS and you have to push it in, and like they didn't fucking understand to put the VHS in.
Yeah, or like the VHS was held like in a white in like a WG facility or whatever, and they're like, "Damn, that's crazy. This sure would be cool, but we don't got the missing component or whatever the fuck." I hope that punk kid Vegapunk or whatever is able to like figure it out, because I ain't doing it.
Shit, bro, that's crazy. This could be as wild as Oda wants to make it, man. This could be, and
again, no break next week.
Seeing this mural makes me understand why he started in 1999 and he's still going to 2025. Like, there's no way it makes sense.
He's got it, man. He's got it. No one else got it like this.
No,
you know. I can't and it's not just Gilles. Just like, what story can consistently? Granted, I know everyone has different opinions. Not all arcs of One Piece are built equal, but like, outside of soap operas, which get like their own kind of like scuffness or whatever, what story can consistently show a straight through narrative with the same characters for 20 years?
Like this.
And then in the year of our Lord 2025, to start the year off, we're like, by the way, this might be the world's smallest little prelogue, not necessarily to obviously the manga serialization, but like, Joey and Roger are right. We're not in the most interesting time. No. I love it, but there is wild shit going on. And as a dungeon master or whatever for D&D and other like TTRPGs, I'm seeing this and I'm rubbing my hands because I'm like, oh, I could set this bitch anywhere I wanted.
This is crazy.
I can make a meal of this. I can freestyle on this.
Yeah, this is wild. But like you said, no break next week. We'll make some other videos on the mural as well as the new chapter. But Versen, tell the people where they can follow you at on social media.
Hey there, you can follow me at Versen also pretty much anywhere, or you can follow me at Josh Foskler again pretty much anywhere. I just want to let people know that I know things are really rough right now and things are a little bit different, but I hope that we as a podcast can be out here and help you guys like relieve some of that pressure on yourselves for this year, and just know that we're a good community. We're out here, we love you and we support you, you know. And yeah, man, things are going to get kind of weird and crazy, but that's what great media and great stories and all this are supposed to help you deal with, you know. Yeah, so I don't know, just I got sentimental looking at this chapter and realizing the giant course of human history, how lucky I am to one, be here with all of you, and two, get to read the story with you guys.
150%. Couldn't agree more. Now make sure y'all follow Versen. The links will be in the description. You can follow me at LynBWT on Blue Sky or on Twitter, and Bros You Think at same thing, Blue Sky and Twitter. The links to our Discord, if you want to join our conversations on One Piece or just join the community, will be in the description as well. But until next time, y'all have a good one and peace.